Hey guys, so I want to start out this video by saying I am very sorry that it's taken this long to get this done. Like, it has taken much longer than I expected. I honestly thought I would be able to get it done in like the course of an hour one day of the weekend and an hour a part of the next, but it took significantly longer. So today we're going to be going over my thoughts and opinions on RWBY Volume 6 Episode 3. Yes, this isn't one. I'm still working on one, and given how long episode 3 is, and that I still have to do episode 4 as well, you can kind of see why it's taken a while. It's kind of reaching that point where it's like, okay, this is going to take a lot longer than anticipated. Regardless, today we're going to be looking at episode 3, a very informational episode, because it's basically just the backstory of all of Remnant. Like, it's literally the story of the entire world of RWBY by Salem and Ozpin. So, before we get in, I'm going to say, of course, spoilers. There's going to be spoilers. It's a thoughts and opinions on an episode of a TV show, given that there's going to be spoilers. So we start off with kind of a Cinderella thing, that Salem's locked in a tower, yada yada yada, and Oz comes to save her. But in this time, he's actually a knight and not like the old headmaster of a school. And it is also said during that time that everyone can use magic. We see them ending up escaping the tower, and Salem is finally free, and this is the start of the Oz-Salem ship that everyone really wants to happen, because, like, everyone really wanted this ship before everyone just started hating Ozpin, because, let's face it, everyone in the world now hates Ozpin. But, everyone really wanted Ozpin and Salem as a ship, because it was like, I don't know, good versus evil equals cute. But we see they end up getting together, and they live happily ever after, again, Cinderella, yada yada yada. And then we see it go down a sort of Star Wars path, in which Oz literally follows the path of Yoda. No, I'm not kidding on that. Oz literally dies because of sickness, and he fades into the Force. So, Star Wars RWBY canon. Now, of course, Salem doesn't want this to happen, but she doesn't let it go. She kinda wants to say, no, come back here, please. So what she does is she goes to the God of Light, and in RWBY there are two gods. There's a God of Light and a God of Dark. So she goes to the God of Light, and she pleads for him, since he is the God of creation, and he is like the one who created creation itself. She goes to him and pleads for him to bring Oz back, and then he says no, because it would disrupt the balance. Again, very similar to Star Wars. And then we see, okay, she don't like that idea, so Salem ends up going to the God of Darkness, and she asks him to bring Ozpin back, or I should say Ozma, not Ozpin, but she asks the God of Darkness to bring Ozma back, leaving out the fact that she kinda already talked to his big bro, and he said, yeah, nah, that goes against the rules. And the God of Dark actually breaks the rules and decides to bring Ozma back, which God of Light not too happy about. He actually shows up, and the two get into a big fight, and Light tells Darkness that Salem visited him before the God of Darkness even saw her, so it was like, he thought she was originally coming to him first, but then it's revealed, oh, you went to him first, and he said no, so now you're turning to me. You don't think I'm the best one, so you ain't getting this power. So we see, when the gods are fighting and they're having this discussion, that they actually do have a set of rules, that they follow, which I'm basically guessing means not destroying the entirety of humanity, and not bringing anyone back from death, which a very good set of rules to have, because once someone's gone, you don't really want to bring them back. You don't really want to bring a dead person back to life, because that can kind of have bad consequences. But we see God of Darkness fixes his mistake and erases Ozma, and in a quite Infinity War sense, although instead of a snap, it's more of a dragon breath. Yes, God of Darkness is a dragon, which, gotta say, I kind of like. And actually, they're both dragons, but, the God of Light is more like, what's the word, Kualin, I think is the word for the Chinese dragon? The one that's the serpentine one with horns. That's either a Shaolin or a Kirin, I think is the word. I know it's what Kirin was based off of, and I think it's Quilin is that word? this has been History of Dragons. But anyway, we see that they erase Ozma, and Salem really gets mad at that, and then, as punishment for her, like, trying to deceive the gods and bringing Ozma back, she ends up becoming immortal. So that's, like, her punishment. She can walk the earth forever, and she can never die, but she can never go back to Oz. Honestly, that's, like, the best punishment ever. I don't know why more people don't use that. Like, can you imagine if the Sith could never actually die, but they could, like, never have their powers? That would be awesome. It's just, like, extract all the midi-chlorians out of their body, and then they just live forever, but they can't use the Force, and they can't use lightsabers. Although, to be fair, I don't think General Grievous had midi-chlorians, and he was able to use lightsabers. Actually, you know what it's exactly like? It's like in Legend of Korra, where they do the blood-bending thing, and they do the blood bending, and they take away the bending from blood, because it's like a form of water bending. But anyway, we see Salem gets this immortality, and she's like, I don't like this. So she really does try to off herself. Like, there is a very gruesome shadow showing her trying to off herself. By which I don't mean there's any blood, it's more like you just kinda, to spoil it, literally, see a sword going through someone's belly. So when she realizes she can't off herself, she gets really mad at the gods, but then realizes that the gods fought each other when she went to them, meaning that they could be persuaded. And she thinks, well, if humanity was made in the image of the gods, maybe I can persuade them to go after the gods and take them out, or at least make them suffer. So she goes all around the kingdoms, all around the world, showing that she can't be killed no matter how many swords or axes or guns or whatever you use against her. And she ends up rallying the people and painting this epic picture of a world where... Kendall, shut up. Painting this epic picture of a world where just everybody can live forever and they don't have to live in constant fear of the gods. And of course everyone likes that because humans are greedy little pigs. But we see she basically ends up taking like a huge army and all 3 of the other kings, I think it is, to the God of Light's pool to basically, essentially, I think, try to kill him. Although I don't know how that would be possible with a god. Like, can you kill a god? We see they end up going to the God of Light's pool, and then God of Dark shows up, and they're both like, who is responsible for this? And then little Miss Salem walks her little blonde butt in front of them and says, yeah, this was me. You gave me this immortality, so now you're gonna pay for it. So, because God of Dark ends up getting aggravated and almost attacks Salem, everyone just starts launching magic at him and shooting him with weapons, and he basically just grabs it all in his hand. Like, all the magic. So he grabs it all in his hand, and he's like, oh, you're using what I gave you against me? And you know how when you're bad as a kid and you use a toy to try and hit somebody that you're mad at and you end up getting it taken away from you? Yeah, that's basically what happened. They got their toys taken away. So now no one could use magic, but the God of Darkness went a little tiny bit overboard and he kinda erased all of humanity. Yeah, there's no humans anymore. All gone. All gone except for Salem. So now it's like basically Salem gets to live on Earth with no gods, no humans, just the creatures of Grimm, and she gets to just walk the Earth alone for all eternity. She can't ever die, can't ever talk to anybody, and she can't even kill herself. That doesn't mean she don't try, though. So she thinks, oh, maybe if the Pool of Light gave me immortality, Pool of Darkness gonna take it away. And that's when we see how she actually became Grimm Salem, because the Pool of Darkness, while it makes Grimm and destroys almost everything, can't destroy something with immortal life. So instead of kinda erasing her, it more corrupts her and turns her into a half-human, half-Grimm. And then we see a scene with Oz talking to the God of Light, and God of Light saying, your world is not what it once was, humanity is erased, but it will soon learn to walk on its face again, and we need someone to guide them, which will be you. And if you use the 4 relics, and we come back, and humanity is at a state of peace, then you will be rewarded, and your world will turn back to the way it was. Although, I think what they meant by that was more of they'll turn it back to the way it was, but keep everybody that's alive now still alive. But he says that if humanity isn't fixed, and the people aren't really united, and they're still fighting to try and get the gods' blessings, then snap, and humanity is just gone. There's no more, no redemption. This is your second chance, this is your only chance. And they say that until this mission is complete, Oz is just going to keep reincarnating, like we've seen him reincarnate with Oscar, but he's just going to reincarnate over and over and over and over and over again until he gets this mission done. Which, of course, he hasn't got it done, because we see he reincarnated into Oscar. So we see Oz gets reincarnated, and he tries to get used to this new world with Faunus, which weren't actually a thing until the gods erased all of humanity. Like, Faunus didn't exist until the gods erased everything. And, of course, no one can use magic anymore, so everyone has to use dust, except for 2 people. I'm going to give you 2 very small guesses on who those 2 people are. Maybe the 2 who were given immortal life. So Oz tries to track down Salem and he finds her, and the 2 get along just splendidly, which I'm not really sure is a good idea. So Salem ends up convincing Oz after they talk for a while, and they're like, oh, this world is crap, like humanity is just falling to pieces because there's no gods around, they need someone to lead them. Hey, we're immortal, we have magic, why don't we lead them? So we see Oz and Salem basically turn a Nevermore into an origami artwork piece before basically just disintegrating it to dust. And we see them doing that floating thing that we saw in the trailer, only from a different angle. It's more of like in the trailer we saw the guy floating down and there were people in front of him. This time, Oz and Salem are, like, in the top of the sky, and they're, like, right about here in this area, and then there's people on the ground down here bowing to them. So we see that they do kind of end up becoming gods, and they end up reshaping the world to where it's more unified, but even less so, because now there's Faunus, and we all know the kind of race war that caused after RWBY Volume 1, 2, and 3. But we see that Oz and Salem are actually living it up big because they get a house, and pay attention to this number, 4 kids. Now, why do I think the number 4 may be important? So we see they got these kids, and then it's revealed that they can actually use magic, which for some reason prompts Oz to tell Salem the truth. And Salem doesn't exactly like that he's there to help the gods, so one of the days Oz tries to escape with the kids and kind of lead them away from Salem, so that he can try and continue the gods' plans elsewhere, and Salem basically burns the house down. And quite literally, might I add, because when she tries to stop Oz, they get into a huge fight of magic versus magic that basically just shatters that entire castle and brings it down into ruin, and I'm pretty sure the kids didn't survive, as is prompted very heavily by the charcoal-colored bunny. So we see then Salem kills Oz, and he just keeps reincarnating over and over. And then we see that Oz talks to the relic, the lamp, the djinn thing. And he asks her the 3 questions. 1, where are the other relics? 2, what do I need to do? And 3, how do I destroy Salem? Now, here's what really causes things to escalate in Volume 6, Episode 4, because I've seen that. It escalates very quickly. So, the last line in Volume 6, Episode 3 comes from Jin, after Ozpin asks the question, how do I destroy Salem? And the answer is, quite literally, 2 words. You can't. So that basically means that 1, Salem is literally immortal, she can't be destroyed, because Oz was very careful to say the word destroyed. Not killed, not erased, destroyed. So he realizes he can't kill Salem, which actually has an effect on Oscar and everyone else as well, because we see Oscar is actually really shook up by this, and it's a real revelation for everybody, let me tell you. So, my thoughts on this episode. Probably one of my favorite episodes of the series, honestly. And one of the big reasons for that is mostly because of the fact that in this one, we basically just get explanation. Like, we finally get a reason for everything. Everything now has a purpose as to why it existed and why everything was happening. And we see why there's this huge war between Salem and Oz. And we see that Oz's semblance isn't, well, I don't think it's actually reincarnation. I think his semblance is probably something else. But we see Oz just reincarnates and reincarnates. And we see why he does that. And we see the gods of light and dark, and we see those actually exist, which we got a hint to in Volume 4 when Crow said they were real. But we see those are actually real, and we see just every little missing piece of the puzzle actually comes into play. Except for Neo. That piece got thrown in the wood chipper. So overall, yeah, I really liked this episode. Not only did I like that it kind of gave explanation to a lot of the stuff that needed it, but it also gave, like, character to Salem and Oz. Like, they weren't just these figureheads anymore. Now they're these actual people who have actual reasons for doing what they're doing, which can kind of back up what Oz said before, where he talks about, I have reasons for the things I do, and I can honestly see why he has reasons for the things he do, because it's honestly very apparent that he doesn't really trust many people after Salem, because I think Salem was the first he mentioned in Volume 6, Episode 2, when he said, do you think Leo was the first? Which would make a lot of sense. It actually would make a very large amount of sense, because that kind of betrayal would probably leave a huge impact, not only here, but here, and probably just this general area of the body. So yeah, overall, I really liked it, and the fallout it makes in Episode 4. Oh, the fallout. The delicious, delicious fallout. Everyone's divided now, and I'll give a spoiler right now. Even RWBY does not want to agree to Oz. Like, she wants to help Oscar, but she don't give a crap about Oz. And Crow, he just goes full-on emo. Like, he just goes straight to emo Crow, which, honestly, I would have expected his character would be from the first second I saw him. Regardless, I'm going to leave this video here. As always, I will leave a link in the description to the episode. You can watch it for yourself. It's been on Rooster Teeth now for, I think, about 2 weeks for all members, and 3 for first members, because 4 just got released last week, so it would have been 4, then 3, so yeah, it would have been 2 weeks ago. 3 was released for everybody, and 3 it was released for first members. 5 is out right now for first members, so I can't really view that yet. I gotta wait till Saturday, which sucks, but it also works out because Saturday, RWBY, then Goblin Slayer. Regardless, there will be a link in the description. There will also be a link to the last video in case you want to check that out and see my thoughts on Episode 2, which, Episode 2, I'm actually still, like, I like Episode 2 still, but I kind of feel like I like Episode 4 a bit better. Episode 4, oh, I love Episode 4 is just like that little piece of pie that you find scattered in, like, the giant salad. Like, you go to a salad bar and it's just like, there's lettuce, there's tomatoes, there's carrots, but then you see that one slice of pie and it's like, hallelujah! Regardless, I am going to leave this video here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I don't know when, my thoughts and opinions for 1 will be back out. I actually don't remember if I deleted it, but I don't know when I'll remake that video. I'm not really sure when I'll make 4 either, because I have some exams for those this week to study up for, and I also have an exam next week to study up for, so that's going to be kind of issuing, and I don't really know when 5 and 6 will come out, because in 2 weeks I have exams, so that's going to take up, like, the next weeks after next week. Actually, no, it's going to take up next week and the week after, because I'm going to have to prepare for those. So, yeah, I have no clue when that stuff's going to come out, so please forgive. I will try and get it out as fast as possible, and as good quality as possible, because I don't want to give you guys bad quality just because I'm short on time. Like, who does that? Regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you can slap the like button as always, and I'll see all you beautiful people in the next video.